Hey, welcome to the Dopio podcast. My name is Emil. I'm your host, and I'm joined today by my lovely co-hosts, Castleman and Renzo. You want to say hi, guys?
No,
They're,
Hi.
they're there, I swear.
I'm a
Oh,
very
man.
reluctant hello. I'm Castleman. What's up?
Hi, and I'm Renzo. I'm a cinephile from Vancouver, Canada. Hi.
Oh, so do I now have to say where I'm from? What's the
You know,
standard?
we can assume that people haven't seen the first episode. Yeah, hi, I'm Emil. I'm a filmmaker from New York.
All this is staying in, by the way.
Yeah, all this is staying in. Yeah, all this is staying in. I don't care.
Yeah, we're not cutting this.
It's authentic.
Our first intro took like 3 tries. This one, we're not even gonna bother. You're getting the raw and real first try at an intro. Hi, I'm Castleman. I'm a filmmaker, and I like movies, and I live in Georgia.
Very
There it
beautiful.
is.
All right.
Well, you say
Well,
that at the end of the
today.
podcast. Now we have to
I
end
mean,
it.
true.
All right. Well, anyways, moving on. Uh, this weekend is the Oscars, the 2024 Oscars, for the 2023 movies, but it's called the 2024 Oscars. I was looking into
Yeah,
this,
and it's the reason
and
why we keep talking about 2023 movies 2 months into 2024.
exactly, exactly. And 2023 was a really great year for movies. Honestly,
One of
I don't think we've had a better year since probably 2019.
I
yeah,
think it's my favorite since 2018, actually.
true. It's a really great year. I think I thought 2022 was a good year for films. This one just topped it even more.
No, it was fantastic. Um,
And as a film student, truly, it is so wonderful to be learning about films and making films at the time where these movies are just out and in theaters. It's really crazy, and this is a year that made you appreciate this medium a lot more. But anyways, so today we're going to be talking about the Oscars and our picks and predictions for each category. So we are going to be starting off with Best Visual Effects. So the nominees are The Creator, Godzilla Minus One, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Mission Impossible, and Napoleon. What do you guys think?
Ooh.
ooh,
Hmm.
I will say I have the one that's my favorite, but the one that I'm rooting for.
So it'll be a pick and a prediction. So what do you want to win and what do you think will win?
Well, no. For me, it's not like what I want to win is different than what my favorite is. That's my distinction. My favorite is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 because I thought all the visual effects on that was stellar. Like, there was not a single moment in that movie where I did not believe that raccoon was really being traumatized.
Mhm.
And but I'm rooting for the underdogs of Godzilla Minus One because that movie. I'm not saying that was the best visual effects, but I am so astounded by what they did with what they had, and I think that team needs all the kudos that they can get. Marvel's gotten VFX awards before, but I feel like these guys they put their heart and soul into that movie, and it looks so great.
I'm there with you. I'm there with you on that. What about you, Renzo? What do you think?
I think for best visual effects, my heart is going with Godzilla Minus One. I do think they're the ones who deserve it the most. Although I did have friends that have told me who have seen the creator and told me how stunning the creator looked. Like it's just that it's um it's sad that the movie isn't as great as it is. But from what I've heard, the creator has some high chances maybe for a win because of how good the visual effects are. But in all honesty, Godzilla Minus One. So that's where my heart is, and I hope Godzilla Minus One wins. Dead Reckoning Part One may be a runner up. I mean, but it's mostly focused on like action, like stunts more than the visual effects themselves.
If
So
we had a stunts category, that would be the one.
yeah,
Yeah,
definitely,
for sure.
definitely.
Or John
Yeah,
Wick.
or John Wick, that too.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, out of all these, not to be like boring, but my pick and prediction is Godzilla Minus One for both.
Mm.
I think Yamazaki, the director, He has been getting his flowers from Hollywood, and recently, and I think this is I just feel it. I can feel it in the air. And honestly, I just really hope this movie wins and gets the recognition it deserves.
For me, Godzilla minus one was 2023's Top Gun Maverick. It gave me that same awesome feeling. Um, and I know that's a weird comparison, but I just can't explain it. And we may talk about that more on a later episode if we do more coverage on 2023
Mhm.
films. But yeah, no,
For
I guess we're
sure.
all in agreement there.
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement of that one.
Definitely.
So, if we have nothing else left to say, we can move on.
To best editing. So for best editing, we have Anatomy of a Fall by Laurent Seneschal, The Holdovers by Kevin Trent, Killers of the Flower Moon by Thelma Schoonmaker, Oppenheimer by Jennifer Lame, and Poor Things by Yorgos Mavro Sidaris. I apologize if I butchered the names of some of these wonderful film editors. So, for me personally, I would give it to Thelma for Killers of the Flower Moon because even though like it's like 3 hours long, I barely even felt the runtime. But I will admit, I did drink an energy drink for this movie, just to stay awake. But hey, I didn't feel the runtime for this one. Uh, Oppenheimer also has a higher chance. So if either Killers of the Flower Moon or Oppenheimer gets it, I would be fine with that. Holdovers, pretty good editing as well. Poor Things, honestly, like in terms of film editing, all of the nominations are well deserved. But just for me, I'd be fine with either just Killers or Oppenheimer getting it. So how about you guys?
So my
Honestly,
perspective,
oh, go ahead, Castleman.
my perspective is so I agree with you about Because of the Flower Moon. 3 hours 30 minutes. Did not feel that thing is paced like shit. Not what did I say? Paced like shit. That what is paced like is so impressive. Um, and same for Oppenheimer. But actually, my pick, I think it's gonna go to Killers or Oppenheimer. But my favorite is The Holdovers
Hmm.
because here's the thing about holdovers. I don't think there's a really full editing is the closest to we have to a full post-production award. And what they did in post-production to the holdovers to make it feel so much like a 70s film, down to how it was edited, down to the choices that they made. For me, the holdovers is my favorite because that movie looks like a 70s film. And the processes that they made to make sure it looked like that are astounding. And maybe if there was a coloring or post production on actual cinematography type thing award, then I would be more talking about the holdovers in that category. But because there is only one category for all of post production, basically, I feel like the holdovers is my favorite because I was astounded by how that movie looked and felt and flowed together.
That's totally valid. Have not seen Killers, which that's gonna come back later in the episode. But and I actually have only seen about five of the Best Picture nominees, but we'll talk about that more later. Um, my pick is Oppenheimer. I think that that movie is just carried by its edit in so many ways, and I don't think enough people talk about that. I think that the I've been reading the screenplay for Oppenheimer that Christopher Nolan came out with a few months ago, and I just feel like it would be so hard to imagine those words on a screen, like translated to a screen, but just in any other way. And it's really like it's really like kind of magical in the way that movie flows and just manages to have like such incredible pacing for being 3 hours long. And honestly, I like almost left wanting more at the end of it. But Oppenheimer is just such a perfect movie. But that being said, my prediction, I think Thelma's going to get it with Killers. Just knowing knowing the Academy and the way they are. And I haven't seen Killers, but I'm sure it's well deserved. I know she's an incredibly legendary editor, and her work with Marty is just like completely remarkable. Like it's yeah, it's incredible. So I wouldn't be upset about that, but I would hope that Jennifer Lane gets it for Oppenheimer.
Unless there's anything else, I will move on to our next category, which is best costume design. For best costume design, we have Barbie, Jacqueline Duran, Killers of the Flower Moon, Jacqueline West, uh, Napoleon, Janty Yates and Dave Crossman, Oppenheimer, Ellen Moronajic. That's probably mispronounced. Apologies, Ellen. And Poor Things, Holly Waddington. I don't know too much about costume, but my personal feeling is it's between for me Poor Things and Killers of the Flower Moon, because Killers of the Flower Moon, the way it sort of captured that essence of the time and the Osage, all of that was fantastic. And also, I really like Poor Things, so I think it's going to go to Killers of the Flower Moon. But I think Poor Things, the way that those costumes were designed was incredible and so unique, and such a unique place that they, such a unique look to them, which we'll get more into in a later category. But yeah, so what do you guys think?
I would say that honestly, I would have to give it to Poor Things personally. I really loved it. Actually, Castleman and I went to go see it together in person.
Yeah.
It was really fun. Really great movie. And I think the costumes were a really big part of that. That being said, my prediction, I'm gonna go a little out of the box here. So all over this nomination list, I've seen Napoleon just like scattered in there in a couple of places, I think. And I'm like, who who nominated this movie? I don't think I've met or read about a single person that's like really like walked out of this movie loving it. And for some reason, I just suspect that it's gonna win like something. I just have that feeling, and I feel like costume design just feels right for that. I have not seen Napoleon, by the way, but my prediction will be Napoleon.
Okay. For me, I mean, just looking at the costume design, there's like a triple threat with this one. For me, it's like either gonna be like for Barbie, for Killers of the Flower Moon, and for Poor Things. Personally, I would like the award to go to Poor Things, but I don't know, man. There's a slight chance for Barbie to even get this. Not gonna lie, because they would be like, "Oh, it's so impactful! Like the pink colors, the pink costumes, like all the cans, like costumes on what they look like, what they wear. Like it's very like impactful to the eyes. Like it captures them. Although like Poor Things for me like feels like more innovative than like how stylish and freaky you could get. But I don't know. They like Academy, they kind of want to go sometimes to like a very like safe and a safe choice, and they might even just go for Barbie just so they could give an award to it. But like I said, Poor Things is the one that I want to win. That I want to win. Sorry about that. Yeah.
Sweet.
All right.
And with that, we will be moving to best makeup. So for best makeup and hairstyling,
Makes
we
up.
have mix up. So for best makeup and hairstyling, we have Golda, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Poor Things, and Society of the Snow. Um, so for this one, I think I have a pick for this one, and it's not really one of my favorite films from last year, or even like the best picture nominees, but I think Maestro's gonna get this one. I My only positive thing that I could say for Maestro, aside from Carrie Mulligan carrying this movie, was the makeup. Makeup was good. I didn't have any problems. Sure, the nose can be a bit distracting, but honestly, the makeup was a really good highlight for this movie. So, what do you guys think? Who do you think should win best makeup and hairstyling?
Oh, please don't rush to speak all at once. Um, there's three of us in this call. Um, so I'll step forward. I'll talk about best
Okay.
makeup and hairstyling, despite not knowing anything about makeup and hairstyling. But I know a couple of things about movies.
I feel
Okay.
like all the amount of people on crews who I know the least amount of makeup people off the top of my head.
Yeah,
No
I think
offense to all
so
you
too.
lovely makeup artists out there.
No offense, but we just don't know you. uh, so I'll say my pick is gonna be Poor Things. I think I'm gonna lean Poor Things on this one. Yeah, I just I don't know. I feel like the makeup of that one was pretty good. I guess. And then I'm gonna say my prediction is gonna be Maestro for similar reasons
That nose was something, huh?
to Napoleon. To Napoleon, I just feel like
Bradley Cooper with a big nose, huh?
oh man, that would be crazy. Actually, I didn't even think about that. Honestly, maybe not. Then I'll just lean Poor Things full on
I
both.
don't know. I guess it does maybe make him look like Leonard Bernstein, but at the same time, it's just like it's so distracting. I think it's gonna
Yeah,
win, but I don't know, dude. It's something. For me, it's my personal pick is Poor Things. I just want to say, can I talk about a snub?
snub.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 had the highest amount of prosthetics used in any film, and it looked amazing, and it's crazy that it is not nominated.
Wow, that is messed up.
Like, just think of all those weird creature designs. Those are, like, I think those are done on people. Those aren't just, like, CGI flubber. Those were, like, crazy, man. All those
Wow.
prosthetics. It looks so good, right?
Now that
Yeah,
I
they
think
looked
about it,
amazing.
yeah, it did. It wasn't like CGI people. They were like literally like actors in makeup and literally like went to shoot the movie. So yeah,
And that's why it looks like a movie and not a Marvel movie.
there it is.
The last good MCU movie.
True.
Oh, people will get mad at me for that.
Nah, it's probably true.
Well, anyways, so moving on, if we are done on talking about makeup and hairstyling, I know we're really excited about that one. Um,
Clearly.
so I do not mean to disrespect any makeup and hairstyle artists, by the way. I'm
We just don't know
I don't
you.
know.
We love you
I
guys.
just don't know. I just don't know you.
Hey,
Yeah.
you know
Sorry to
what? If you
reiterate
want,
that.
I would love to know you because I need to meet more of you guys. So
Yeah,
hit
I
me
would
up.
love to know you too. Yeah. Talk to us, please. Um,
They're nice. They're
anyways,
nice. They're willing to
yeah,
work with you guys.
I hope so. I hope I didn't offend them.
Low
All right,
key, I just my experience on sets. If I can just give a quick anecdote, the
go
hardest
ahead.
thing people have tried to find are makeup and hairstyle artists. For some reason, they're just like
Okay.
hard to find.
Hmm.
You guys are the hard to find. Maybe you're so highly in demand. I guess.
All right, so high in
Hopefully
demand for
this is
sure.
exposure. Hopefully this is exposure.
This is so much damage control, when I'm pretty sure there are no hair and makeup stylists watching this video.
The
Or
one
this
makeup and
this podcast.
hairstylist listening to this is like, wow, I'm getting a lot of air.
It's not.
They're talking
All right.
about me.
We've dwelled on the hair and makeup artist long enough. Let's go to cinematography. It's the thing I know a little bit about. At least a little bit
You've
more than
DP'd
hair
a
and makeup
short here and
styling.
there.
I've DP'd a short here and there. I have DP'd a couple of exercises for my classmates. Um, but I'm not like a DP. I'm a director, producer, writer, mostly director. But let's uh, let's go through these. So the first one is El Cole. Have not heard about this movie before I saw these nominations. No idea what this movie is. Killers of the Flower Moon. Have not seen it. How crazy is it that it has the same cinematographer as Barbie though? Um, that's kind of nuts. Um, Rodrigo Prieto, by the way. Maestro, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. So I gotta give it to Oppenheimer. Pick and prediction. I think the cinematography of that movie, in combination with the editing, which I also talked about earlier, really is just unlike any other movie I've ever seen. It's just um, Nolan builds his own cinematic language that uh, just like works for the story, and it's just kind of unconventional, but it just looks so beautiful. And I love the shots where you just get really into Oppenheimer's head, like the really really insane close-ups, and especially on that IMAX screen. Um, like not to flex, but I have seen this on the largest IMAX screen in the country, and it looks spectacular. Um, those wide landscape shots are just beautiful. The black and white cinematography, of course, as well, is which Nolan developed with the new type of film stock, the IMAX black and white with IMAX and Kodak, and I believe Kodak. I don't know. I don't want to assume that, but he developed it for this movie, and it just works so well on a narrative level. And going back to that screenplay that I was reading, like it with using the eye perspective for those color scenes and the more objective perspective for the black and white scenes is just such a cool idea. And I'm so glad that this movie was as successful as it was. And I think a large part of that is really because of the incredible and grand cinematography. But what do you guys think?
Castleman, you want to go first?
Oh yeah, sure. I'm not a DP either, but I'm friends with some DPs, and I've learned a lot from them about their
Woo!
process. Shout out to my buddy
Shout
Damon.
out Damon. Damon,
Yeah,
woo! Hope you're listening to
if you're listening to
this.
this. All right, so I think Oppenheimer is my pick because that movie looked astounding, and I gotta agree with you. Like just the way that Hoyt van Hoytema was able to capture both the setting and the feel and the way the you felt the impact of everything with the way it looked. Um, I will say I think I hate to be the one who's always about snub. I think my favorite might be The Holdovers again, which is not nominated here, but I'm sorry
Holdovers.
that movie astounded me the way it looked, man. It astounded me. Like
Yeah.
what a looking movie, man.
It really made you feel the 70s like vibe of it all, didn't it?
Yeah, holdovers. Holdovers. If that was on here, I might have gone for that as my pick and prediction,
I
or
mean,
at
it was
least my
just
pick.
it's like I'm gonna double check something before I make myself seem like a fool. Like the most insane thing about that movie is it was not shot on film. It was
Okay,
shot
that's
on the
interesting.
Arri Alexa Mini, and it looks like that.
Whoa.
Wow,
I, I'm sorry,
that's
that's just
crazy.
snub.
That's just
Sorry.
crazy because I've like worked on sets where they've used that camera. You know, like wow. And the movie looks like that. That's so crazy.
No one has any excuse now
No one has any excuse now. Yeah.
for like shooting on digital and it looking like shit because you can make it look
Yeah.
that good if you just know your post
Yeah.
process. Renzo, your thoughts?
And okay, if I may add one thing really quick,
Yeah.
I think also a thing about the holdovers is that's a movie that where Alexander Payne he had a very specific vision for this film and a very specific tone that he wanted to lean into, and I think a large part of cinematography that's not spoken about enough is how creative it is, and it's like a mix between creativity and technical knowledge, but it's this is the look that worked for this movie, and I think that was a really really big part of the atmosphere and the feeling that really hooked viewers in from the beginning, like the warmth that it created, and I think the cinematography was a big part of that, and yeah, and just gushing. I think it's cool. Um, yeah, so moving on.
Okay, I'll make it short and quick. My prediction that would win and personal pick Oppenheimer is gonna take it. I think that's the sweep. So Oppenheimer sweep in terms of like on its technical standpoint. So
Sweep
yeah,
Sweepenheimer 2024.
yeah,
Yeah.
Let's get the
definitely
hashtag Sweepenheimer.
Woo!
Sweepenheimer.
That
No
one
part,
holdover
no
sweep.
holdover sweep.
You know,
Dominic said the sweep.
I
Okay.
Hold sweepers.
Hold sweepers. Sweep holders.
Sweep holders.
Oh god. All right.
All right.
Anyway, if we're all good with cinematography, I'd like to move on to
Mhm.
production design, which is something I feel pretty strongly about because it's something I've done. Not on of course not on the degree of any of these films, but on small little sets. I've been on art departments and I've done it on short films as a production designer myself, and I feel really strongly about how much work goes into this category. So our nominees are for Barbie, production design Sarah Greenwood, set decoration Katie Spencer, Killers of the Flower Moon, production design Jack Fisk, set decoration Adam Willis, Napoleon, production design Arthur Mack, set decoration Eli Griff, Oppenheimer, production design Ruth Jijong, set decoration Claire Kaufman, Poor Things, production design James Price and Shona Heath, set decoration I apologize to this person, Zuza Mahalik.
Mihalik.
If you hear this and I mispronounce your name, please send me an email and I will understand. So, I mean, just to talk about a couple of them, I think, Oppenheimer was very impressive, the way that they recreated that. Whole place in the desert. Like, Barbie was pretty interesting with how they recreated the Barbie Dreamhouse world, whatever. That was interesting. But I'm sorry, neither those two or the other two have a handle to hold on Poor Things. Poor Things is one of the most intricately crafted, like, pieces of art direction I've ever seen. Like, the sets that they built to create this otherworldly looking locations, whether it's Lisbon or Paris or even London, the way that they made like a fantasy version of our world in this most intricate and fascinating way with so many great techniques and colors, and like I was astounded. Like, I mean, I was almost speechless for how much that movie accomplished with its set direction and design and everything. Like, one of the best. Like, this isn't my favorite production design of the year. It's maybe my favorite production design of the decade so far. I can't wax on about it enough. How do you guys feel?
Large words,
Yeah.
Castleman. Large words. Go ahead, Renzo.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, I think I also agree. I do think Poor Things should win Best Production Design. The fantastical elements of it all really added to its quirkiness and weirdness. I don't think, like, if not for that type of production design, I wouldn't even feel all of that, like, weirdness that I was, like, loving in watching Poor Things. So, yeah, Poor Things is my choice for Best Production Design, which I do think it should win. So, how about you, Emil?
I'm gonna be really boring, and I'm gonna say Poor Things Sweep for this one. But guys,
Poor sweeps.
poor sweep
Sweep?
things.
Poor Things
Sweep,
sweep. Shout
sweep
out to Gabe.
things.
Okay,
Poor
I'm gonna
Things
say
hype.
this is another example of Napoleon sneak. This is another Napoleon just like showing up here. Like, I get it, but like I don't know. I think this is a conspiracy. But yeah, poor things hype.
Napoleon conspiracy hashtag.
The Napoleon conspiracy. All right.
So, are we going to be moving on to Best Sound? Okay, for Best Sound, we have The Creator, Maestro, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, Oppenheimer, and The Zone of Interest. Okay, for Best Sound, the clear winner for me is The Zone of Interest. Oppenheimer was great. I do love the sound that I've heard, watching that movie 3 times in the theaters. But there's just something with the Zone of Interest that, on like a technical standpoint, the fact that what the experience of watching that movie is you use your ears for the most part. It's the one thing that you have to focus on, your hearing. You get to see you get to see all of these like visuals, but at the same time, what's more heightened is the sound. So as a movie experience, um I would have to give it for the zone of interest. So anyone's thoughts for best sound?
No, I was about to be like Sweepenheimer, because that movie, the sound was insane. And
Yes.
that might still be my personal favorite, but when you mentioned the zone of interest, I was like, oh shit, that's right. Because I'll be honest, that movie is nothing. You could not watch that movie on silent because it would be boring as fuck. I'll be real. That movie, like, but the thing is, the fact that you're just like hearing these atrocities as these
Mm.
stupid, evil pieces of shit are just living their dull lives, and you're just hearing torture in the background, and it's fucking horrifying. Yeah, yeah. Like, I mean, for the sake of Sweepenheimer, I want Oppenheimer to win, but I do think Sound of not what
The
was
sound of
The
interest.
sound of interest.
the Sound of Freedom?
Oh no.
Oh
Oh,
jeez.
I bet there's a blog post out there angry that didn't get nominated.
Oh jeez,
Oh,
Rick.
I'm angry that the Sound of Freedom didn't get nominated because what's better sound than the Sound of Freedom?
oh no.
Oh man.
Apologies. But yeah, A Zone of Interest, very
Oh
good movie
jeez, Rick.
and very good sound.
How about you, Emil?
I don't really have a lot to say on this one, honestly. I'm gonna say my pick is gonna be Mission Impossible. I remember
Hmm.
getting like jump scared by the sound in this movie in the theater. And so you know what? It'll win based on that, in my opinion. But my prediction is gonna be Maestro. I think this is where Bradley Cooper gets his flowers. I
Really,
think
for
this is where he
best
wins.
sound.
You know what? I'll give it to him. This is where he wins.
I
I'll
don't
go
want
Okay.
him
out
to
there
win
for this one.
anything.
Uh, I don't either, but I think this. I think this might be one of the places where he wins. All right. So, oh, I'm doing original song. Oh yeah,
Yes.
this is least
Best
musical
original
person
song.
you know presents the podcast intro to his friends about the best original song in a movie. So, it's The Fire Inside from Flamin' Hot. Oh, I wanted to watch this movie really bad. Um, it seemed kind of interesting, but I didn't know there was a song attached. Cool. I'm just Ken from Barbie. um, I want to just say, right here, right now, I've seen too many dudes wearing the I'm Knuff hoodie. I've seen too many of them.
Mm.
Um, anyways, it never went away from American Symphony. I don't know. I don't know what American Symphony is. Have you guys seen that movie?
No.
Me either. I'm sure it's a lovely movie. Sorry, I don't know. I don't want to be, and it's a lovely song. Probably. I mean, it got nominated for an Oscar. That's incredible. But I just don't really know it. Uh, the oh geez, the a song for my people from Killers of the Flower Moon. Sorry, I didn't even want to try to butcher that pronunciation. A song for my people from Killers of the Flower Moon, and what was I made for from Barbie? Two Barbie noms for this one.
Mm.
I gotta say, I think Barbie's walking away with at least one award
Yeah.
on that night. I think they're walking away with at least one. But it might be for this one. I think probably prediction. I'm just Ken wins, but yeah, I'll say it's also my pick. I guess I don't really know any of the other ones except the Billie Eilish one. I don't really like Billie Eilish that much, but so I'll go with Ken. I like Ryan Gosling. Go go ahead, guys. Go at him.
Okay. So for best original song, personal pick would have to be "I'm Just Ken." It's way more easier to my ears. Not but I think the Oscar would be giving it to Billie Eilish again because I do think they will say that this is the safest choice, the safest win for us. So I'm pretty sure they're probably gonna give it to Billie Eilish. But personally, I'm just Ken, way more catchier in my ears. So I'm just gonna keep it that. Castleman.
All right, I'm gonna put my pick into song.
Okay.
Oh man.
'Cause I'm just Ken. Anywhere else I'd be a 10. Is it my destiny to live and die a life of blonde fragility? I mean, that's the only one of these songs that I've memorized. Me and my buddy Justin have just randomly coordinated erupting into bad rehearsals of this to annoy other people. And you know, if it's I think it's made a lot of people connect over that. So you know, I got to go with that. I mean, I think it's gonna be What Was I Made For, because that's like the more serious and women type feminist whatever. And you know, that's gonna be the safest choice definitely. But I'm sorry, I'm Just Kin is like the most iconic one here. I just want to say, because I'm Mr. Snub here, I just want to say that I think that um I'm surprised that Am I Dreaming from Across the Spider-Verse was not nominated.
Yeah, that was a snub. That was
Or
a snub.
a lot of the songs in Across the Spider-Verse, honestly.
but God forbid they give an animated movie an award outside of Best Animated Feature.
Speaking of which, Best Original Score
Wait, hold on. I have
is...
one thing to say. I want to add on the I'm Just Ken thing. I want to add a detail about Castleman. Every time I have gone into an AMC movie theater with him, and the Nicole Kidman ad has gone on, he has recited it out loud to me, and I think about it every time I go to an AMC theater. I
How
want to
did
just
that
add
have
that
anything to do with this?
because you said you sing I'm Just Ken out loud.
I mean, not in AMC movie theaters.
Not in an AMC movie theaters, but it was related
Look, it's
enough
like our
in my
Pledge of
mind.
Allegiance as film buffs, because we end
Yeah,
up going to the theater so many fucking times.
yeah. I
Like,
will
I
say
genuinely have that memorized.
when you hear people reciting that or like clapping after that, you know the movie you're about to watch is gonna be a banger. Like the
Yeah.
audiences that know about that, yeah.
Yeah.
Shout
Well,
out
anyway, now
audiences.
that you interrupted my amazing segue, thank you, because you had to bring up an
You're welcome.
anecdote about myself, so it's my fault, I guess. Uh, Best original
You-
score is American Fiction, Laura Cartman. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, John Williams. Killers of the Flower Moon, Robert Robertson. Oppenheimer, Ludwig Göransson. Poor Things, Jurkson Fendrix. I'm mad at John. I love John Williams. He does not deserve to be here. I don't remember any new theme from Dial of Destiny, the most mid-ass Indiana Jones movie. I don't. That is a spot that should have gone to Across the Spider-Verse or The Boy and the Heron, without a doubt. Those are two of the best scores. I don't care if they're animated. Those are the two of the best scores. Probably my two favorite scores we got this year, if not for Oppenheimer. I am happy Oppenheimer's here. And I would say I think American Fiction was pretty good. I actually saw it last night, and I was pleasant with what I was hearing. And Poor Things was fucking weird, but I think it definitely fit the movie, and was great. But I gotta go with Oppenheimer. But I'm a little pissed off that Boy and the Heron and Across the Spider-Verse were not given kudos for how hard both Daniel Pemberton and Joe Hayashi went.
Mhm. Snap, 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 snap.
Okay.
I feel bad.
Original score.
I feel bad for interrupting that now.
Don't worry. Don't worry. Um, Original score. My pick, personal pick, and I think it's gonna win Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer sweep. Ludwig, his best score yet. The the,
Sweepenheimer.
the fact that I listen to Can You Hear the Music like every day ever since that movie came out, it was addicting. Don't you just want to like listen to that Can You Hear the Music
Yeah.
track? Look at the
I feel
stars
like
and feel like Oppie. Come on now. Come on.
I feel like it's just a shared male experience in 2023. Just standing outside. If you're like in your 20s and you're a male, you just stand outside, just put on Can You Hear the Music for Oppenheimer? Just have a moment. Yeah, I'm with you, man. Pick and prediction Oppenheimer. You said all there is to say about it. it's amazing and wonderful, and like everything else in this movie, honestly, like I can't say anything's like bad. Like pretty great all around.
Okay, so now we're gonna move on to Best International Feature Film. Okay, so for Best International Feature Film, we have Io Capitano, Perfect Days, Society of the Snow, The Teacher's Lounge, and The Zone of Interest. Um, Personal pick, and I do think this film would even win. The Zone of Interest, one of the most important films from last year. It should be seen, despite its topic, but I do think The Zone of Interest is going to win. Perfect Days is also fantastic. I love that movie. Oftentimes I've been thinking about Perfect Days actually, like after I've seen it in theaters. Good movie, but I do think in terms of its importance, The Zone of Interest should win Best International Feature Film. So, any thoughts on that?
I'll say the only one of these movies I've seen. I've been trying to get around to see Society of the Snow because it's on Netflix. Maybe I will before our next episode, but uh, I haven't. I've only seen The Zone of Interest. And you know that movie does have a Nazi throwing up. So if you want to see a Nazi experience the joys of puking, then yeah, they deserve it. Um,
Yeah, they do.
I don't like Nazis.
I don't either.
Nobody should like Nazis.
Nobody should
you
like
know, I think it's.
Nazis.
I think that's my first take on this podcast. No one will get mad at me about. Uh, but
Dopio podcast PSA: Nazis are bad.
yeah, that's our official statement as a podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's I mean that movie again, I talked about it with sound, but the way that
Mm.
it goes through it, it's not like the most entertaining movie, but it doesn't need to be. It's showing something fucking real and brutal. And yeah, no, good movie. Emil, have you
So,
seen any of these?
I haven't seen any of these movies, but I will say I think that it's really funny that because one thing Castleman I think told me about this Zone of Interest was like the close-ups feel like jump scares, which I thought was a really funny note on that film. So I'll say prediction Zone of Interest.
Yeah.
Or Perfect Days. I think it's gonna be one of those two.
Zone of Interest probably has my favorite poster of the year.
great poster.
Yeah. All right.
One of the few posters I had no intention of changing on Letterboxd.
The Zone
There you
was
go.
indeed interesting.
Okay, Pro Flex. We're all pros here. We're all Letterbox pros.
You mean patron?
Or patron, yeah, patron, yeah, not even
yeah.
pro. I was under flexing the flex. Follow us on
Well, you know,
Letterbox,
I don't
by
know
the
if it's a
way.
flex to announce that we pay for Letterbox, you know.
Because
Yeah,
you
it's
know
kind
what?
Or just put down.
I guess so.
Letterbox is
Yeah,
great.
It's great.
Letterbox is great. Yeah.
All right. Unless do you have anything more to say about this?
I do not.
All right. If not, I'm going to move on to best animated feature. For that we have Elemental, Nimona, Robot Dreams, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, and The Boy and the Heron. So with all those people, whether it's Peter Sohn, Denise Raum, Nick Bruno, Troy Quinn, Karen Rain, and Jui Zachary, Pablo Berger, Iban Cormanzanza, Inanzi Estape, and Sandra Tapia Diaz, Kim Powers, Justin K. Thompson, Phil Lord, Christopher Miller, Amy Pascal, Hayao Miyazaki, and Toshio Suzuki. I realized I didn't read anybody's names. I just read the titles. I went back and then I instantly regretted it with all those pronunciations. But you know, all of them deserve their kudos.
Mhm.
I'm disappointed that Suzume was not nominated because I feel like it's definitely my third favorite animated movie of this year and is not on here. Instead, Elemental, your generic Pixar film, is, which I never bothered to see because I heard it was nothing but generic, and I'm not planning to. Because we're kind of in Pixar's mid-era. Occasionally they'll make something half worth seeing, but it didn't seem like Elemental was it. And Nimona, I've seen a bit of, and looked amazing. It was really cool, but I think it's between Across the Spider-Verse and The Boy and the Heron. I mean, think it might be Across the Spider-Verse because that's been all the hype and everything, and everyone's gonna, and I loved Across the Spider-Verse. I saw this movie 5 times in theaters. I'll admit it. I love Spider-Man. He's he's a great character, and this is a great Spider-Man movie. Definitely in the top 4. Where in the top 4 it is, some might argue, but I think it's amazing film. With amazing animation, so many interesting techniques, so many incredible like visuals. It's for me, it's The Boy and the Heron, and there's no contest. The Boy and the Heron is a film from one of the greatest directors ever. It's maybe his last film, and it's a masterpiece. It's so good. I'll be okay if Cross the Spider-Verse wins, but I will be disappointed because I think The Boy and the Heron, to me, I haven't seen it 5 times because as it wasn't as readily available as Spider-Verse, but I saw it twice, and it was worth it each time because this movie was incredibly special. And yeah, how do you guys feel?
I love Spider-Man too. I love Spider-Man. Spider-Man's
Spider-Man
great.
2 too.
Yeah,
Spider-Man 2, Sam Raimi, great movie.
Sam Raimi. This is
I'm literally
also a
looking at a
Spider-Man too.
I'm looking at a poster of it right now.
This is also a Spider-Man 2 for Miles Morales. So,
It's the second best Spider-Man 2 after Spider-Man 2.
there you go.
Yeah.
Personally, I do love Across the Spider-Verse. I know this would be my pick, but in all honesty, the movie that deserves it the most is The Boy and the Heron. Like, come on. This is like one of the masters of cinema, giving you another movie, which, like you mentioned, might be his last. And even the message of it is like such an impactful and makes you sad because you usually think that Hayao Miyazaki is this legendary figure, but now that you look at it, like he's like us. Like time is running out for every one of us. So I do think it's about time for him to win another Oscar. So Boy and the Heron, that should win.
Yeah.
Emil?
Yeah, I'm there with you. I love, same opinion, honestly. Can't really add much. Across the Spider-Verse, great movie. Also saw it 5 times at least. I like that weekend. I literally saw it like every day from like Thursday to Sunday. Like it was, or I think I like Wednesday to Sunday actually, or something crazy like that.
God dang.
But that being said, you can check my letterbox. I have those movies logged. You can see the dates. Yeah, check that out. I'm plugging the letterbox a lot.
We should put our letterboxes in the description of this one.
We'll do it. We'll do that of this one. But I'm gonna go with Boy and the Heron on both. Pick and prediction.
All right.
So we're all in agreement with that.
Yeah. We're you need to find something to
Yeah.
fight over, or else the podcast won't be as interesting.
Yeah, we have like similar opinions on some movies, so
I'm sure. Drama. No. Chill. Let's see here. I'm also presenting best adapted screenplay. So for that, we have American Fiction, Cord Jefferson, based on the novel Erasure by Percival Everett. Barbie, Greta Gerwig, Noah Baumbach, based on characters created by Ruth Handler. Oppenheimer, Christopher Nolan, based on the biography American Prometheus, The Triumph and Tragedy of J. Robert Oppenheimer by Kate Kai Bird and Martin J. Sherwin. Poor Things, Tony McNamara, based on the novel by Alasdair Gray. The Zone of Interest, Jonathan Glazer, based on novels by Martin Amis. So I Sweepenheimer. I gotta go Oppenheimer. This is the best of these 5 films. I believe that this is the best. I think it's a genuinely great film that really takes this real life person and adapts this book based on this person in such a masterful way. I mean, of these other films, I quite liked American Fiction. That was pretty good, and same for I love Poor Things, and Barbie made a movie out of Barbie, and it was decent, so that should be applauded. But for me, it's Oppenheimer. I think Oppenheimer. I was so impressed. I'm a huge Christopher Nolan fan, and it exceeded my expectations. and I feel like that I feel like that really does say something. Um, can I if I can give a zany answer that I'm not saying it's a snub because I never would have expected it to get nominated. I just want to say, um, Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves was a wonderful adaptation of Dungeons and Dragons because it was zany and funny in the moments where it felt like it really was just a bunch of douchebags sitting around a table playing Dungeons and Dragons. Um, and just because it gave me that feeling, I'm not saying snub, but I'm saying honorable mention. Oppenheimer, of course, got it, but yeah.
Yeah, I was not diminishing Dungeons and Dragons. I'm sure it's a lovely movie.
Dragons is great.
But yeah, I'm sure it's great. But
Good movie, but
I wouldn't have
it's
thought of that
fun.
for Oscars. Yeah, for sure. Um, I'm gonna say yeah. Actually, I really tried to like come up with like some sort of like intellectual argument for like why Poor Things is actually a better adaptation of a novel I haven't read. Um, but you know, then I really thought about it, and I have read some of American Prometheus, and let me tell you, it's a dense book.
It is. I actually have the
It
book as well.
Yeah, it is a dense book. And I think the way Nolan made that material like pretty approachable
Yeah.
is definitely to be commended.
I don't
And
have
I
any of
will
us read the books that these are based on.
no, I mean
I mean,
also. Oh, go ahead, Kafka.
wait. I'm actually surprised now that I'm looking at best adapted screenplay. Killers of the Flower Moon isn't in this one.
That's right. Wow.
Yeah, Killers of the Flower Moon got snubbed, and I've read Killers of the Flower Moon, so I'm surprised now that I'm looking at it. What the
I have heard some people say the book was better. Like I have heard
Uh,
that as an opinion.
having read the book, I will admit, yes, the book was better than the movie.
Um,
Definitely.
and I guess you know this is an award based on the job of adapting material from one medium to another, which leads me to my
Hmm.
next point. Barbie shouldn't be here. Barbie should be in Best Original Screenplay if they're going to nominate it. It's based on a toy line, but it's not based on any existing Barbie story, as far as I know. Here on Wikipedia, it says that it's based on characters created by the Barbie creator. Like that's not
I
an
mean,
adaptation.
I you know I would rather Killers of the Flower Moon be here than that, but I don't know if I'd want to put it in original screenplay and replace one of the movies there. I don't know. It's fine.
I'm not saying
Hey,
it
you
should be
know what?
replaced.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm
It's a weird, tricky situation, I guess.
I'm
Hmm.
not saying it should replace anything in original screenplay, but I just think that if they were to put it in original screenplay, I think that'd be a more fitting category for it if they were to nominate it. Because it's not really an adaptation like the other things on this list are.
My argument
Um,
for that is the story of Barbie could not exist if not for what is established by the Barbie brand.
yes, but the story of the film is not based on any existing Barbie story. It's a story that Greta Gerwig came up with Noah
I mean,
Baumbach,
best
the
adapted
screenwriters.
screenplay isn't necessarily about based off a specific story. Like, I don't know, movies that are barely based on the source material are put it here, but they're based off of characters and ideas. Um,
I just think it's a stupid classification for this. Like I think if it's based on if it's based on a original story that is adapted to something else or adapted from one medium to another, then yeah, I think it belongs in adapted screenplay because I think the award is based on the job of adapting it from a novel or a play or whatever to a film. That's where like I think the art part of the artistry of it is, and I think that you know Barbie is a great movie, and I think it I don't know if it would have deserved best original screenplay, but I just think like yeah, Killers is a movie that should have been here instead.
I mean, I
Probably.
agree with that. I
Um,
but well,
but
I agree with Killers being there, but I do disagree with that classification because I think adapted screenplay is specifically for things based on other things, whether it's a book or just a character. Because Barbie is a character and Barbie is the main character of Barbie. So I guess I just disagree with you on that classification, but that's fine.
I guess yeah. I just read the words best adapted screenplay, and that's just what I think will comes to mind. But that's we I guess to each their own.
Yeah.
That being said, Opie sweep. Opie sweep.
Sweepenheimer.
I would agree with all of you. Oppenheimer, adapted screenplay. Yeah.
But where do you stand on the adaptation versus Barbie?
Yeah,
Be our
yeah. What's your
mediator
take?
in this great debate.
Yes, the first great debate.
I was wanting us
No,
to disagree.
no. I will be running away, sir. Reprimand me. I do not want to go to war.
Listen, we're not
I'm
going to
you're
war.
you're
I'm
you're,
curious
you're
your opinion.
Switzerland, okay?
You're Switzerland. All right.
Oh god.
Sick Twilight reference in 2024.
Twilight
He
should
does
be
not
best
want
adapted screenplay, honestly. Back then.
to.
Honestly. Come on.
And
It was-
it is based on a screenplay, so I think, or it's based on a book, so it makes sense. It's an adapted screenplay.
Bella's dad should have been nominated for Best Supporting Actor.
Hey, can you
Dude, so true.
imagine? Can you imagine Uncharted best adapted screenplay?
Okay, you're about to unleash a primal rage that should not be recorded.
That should be a special episode sometime.
Yeah,
Oh boy.
that's for the Patreon that doesn't exist currently. Um,
Oh god.
so did you say OP sweep, Renzo?
Opie sweep. Opie sweep.
Cool. All right. So that leads me to presenting the next the next category to the podcast, best original screenplay. I'm getting a lot of Discord notifications. Sorry, let me go on Do Not Disturb. All right, I'm on Do Not Disturb forever. All right, so best original screenplay. Um, are Anatomy of a Fall, The Holdovers, Maestro, May December, and Past Lives. I'm gonna say Holdovers on this one, and I'm gonna say pick end
Sleepovers.
prediction. Yeah, Sleepovers. I think. Yeah, I think it's yeah. It is well deserved. It's such a great script, and again, when we were talking about the intent of the director and like the vibe of the film, like the script, just I couldn't imagine this not looking the way it does, or like honestly looking any other way, and feeling any other way. And I think that a large part of that is due to the Wendell script. What do you guys
Absolutely
think?
agree. I think I've been a huge holdovers proponent on this episode, and I will continue to be. The holdovers. I want to see it again. Honestly, it's such a good movie. And it's the sort of movie I may end up watching every Christmas season, or it's almost like more of a winter break type film. But it's a movie it's honestly a movie I would consider putting into my yearly rotation, and
Mm.
it's such a good
Yeah.
screenplay.
Best winter break movie of all time? Question mark.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Okay. For me, this is tough. Okay, because I do love Anatomy of a Fall. I do love the holdovers and past lives. Like, but
Oh,
honestly, like Anatomy of Fall, smart screenplay, smart screenplay. Love it. Past lives really touched my heart. But honestly, you know what? I'm gonna agree. Holdovers. I might go to the holdovers sweep with this one. Um,
sleepovers.
when I think of the holdovers, it makes me just wanna, heat up some soup and watch the movie. I don't know. Holdovers. Let's go. I'm going for holdovers in this one.
Holdovers. Holdover sweep. All
All
right.
right. Okay, so we're moving on to Best Supporting Actress. All right. For Best Supporting Actress, we have Emily Blunt for Oppenheimer, Danielle Brooks for The Color Purple, America Ferrera, Barbie, Jodie Foster for Naiad, Divine Joy Randolph for The Holdovers. I mean, listen, all three of us, I'm pretty sure we all have the same for Best Supporting Actress, right?
Sweepovers.
Yeah, Divine Joy Randall.
Sleepovers.
This is basically easy. Like she's one of the highlights of the holdovers. So yeah.
But question: do we think that anyone else is going to win? Do we like? What are the chances that someone else wins? I agree. I think Devin Joyce Randolph is fantastic, and she's like the heart and soul of that movie. And I think that she deserves this. But what's the possibility that like Emily Blunt gets it or something, or America Ferrera? And also,
America
I just
Ferrera would be
realized,
this year's. America Ferrera would be this year's Jamie Lee Curtis. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
yeah,
I don't know. I don't think Emily's gonna get it. I don't think it's Emily's time to shine yet. Great scene though. Like she did have like a really good scene by the
Oh
third
no,
act of the movie,
her scene near the
yeah,
end of Oppenheimer is amazing.
right?
And she won.
yeah.
I wouldn't be sad, but I would be a little disappointed because
Yeah.
I just love Divine Joy Randolph so much. She's my
Mm,
pick.
yeah,
Uh,
definitely. Holdover sweep.
For sure.
Holdover
Holdover
sweep.
sweep.
Ooh, are we more holders over sweep than up and sweeper?
Maybe, I don't know. We'll have to
Ooh,
tally that up sometime.
I mean, it might
yeah.
be equal. Who knows? You know.
Mm.
Who knows?
All right.
Castleman.
Oh yeah, I'm best supporting actor. Sorry. Best
What
supporting
is
actor, we
you?
have Sterling K. Brown, American Fiction, Robert De Niro, Killers of the Flower Moon, Robert Downey Jr., Oppenheimer, Ryan Gosling, Barbie, Mark Ruffalo, Poor Things. Um, hmm. I I gotta go with Robert Downey Jr. I think Robert. This is
Yeah.
100% Robert Downey Jr. He's both my favorite performance here, and I think he's got it. Like Robert De Niro's, he's great, but he's had so many great performances. And I think
Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr. he finally got out under the Marvel thumb, and he made something so different and such a great performance, and such a one I think about just deliveries of certain lines he does in Oppenheimer. All the other ones, I like Sterling King Brown in American Fiction.
Mhm.
I I don't know if it's the best one, but I liked him. Ryan Gosling, it's so funny that he's nominated for Ken, but he is so funny. Uh, uh, and Mark Ruffalo, Poor Things as Duncan Wedderburner, a good performance. But just go back to the sweepovers. I think Dominic Sessa should have been nominated. That is one of the
Yeah.
best debut performances I've ever seen in a movie. He was astoundingly good, and the fact that he just applied from the school they happened to be shooting at is like insane. Such great talent. I want to see him in at least one movie per year for the next several years. He was so good. So he's a little bit of a snub. I would even put out. There's a couple of these I'll be happy to replace with him.
Mm,
But for what it is, but even if he was there, I would still be going with Robert Downey Jr.
mhm.
Yeah, it's just like RDJ. Like that was a performance you really, really like can't stop thinking about after that movie. And I think in a way, and more so than probably anyone else besides maybe Ryan Gosling as Ken. Um, and that's crazy because he's going up against De Niro in this one. I remember you and I were talking the other day about how the reason that Dominic Sessa probably wasn't nominated is because he's going up against such a stacked lineup for supporting actor here. Like I mean, first movie like off the rip, like first movie you just applied for because they're shooting on your campus, and they just you're up against Robert De Niro, Robert Downey Jr., Ryan Gosling, Mark Ruffalo, and Sterling K. Brown. Like, wow. Um, that being said, yeah, RDJ. I'm gonna say RDJ, and then I say maybe prediction Ken. I think Ken Ryan Gosling. I think Ryan
Nah,
Gosling
nah.
Oh my god! If Ryan
could
Gosling won,
could could
I would
potentially
be
get it.
disappointed,
I
but it would be so fucking funny.
Yeah, I could see enough people voting for Ryan Gosling. I think that's a possibility.
Nah. Nah. If
But
Ryan wins,
I heard it.
if Ryan wins, Jamie Lee Curtis of like best supporting actor wins. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
I agree with that.
But yeah, my pick would also be Robert Downey Jr. Easy. Come on. It's time. RDJ, it's time. I will say, side note, Sterling K. Brown really impressed me. I do have a problem whenever I watch Sterling K. Brown. He kind of overacts. Is that weird? It kind of feels like I know he's talented. I know he's a great actor, but oftentimes he kind of goes too far. But for this one, it's like just the right amount. Just the right amount, and I was like, okay, I think this is my favorite role of Sterling K. Brown. Like this is as Cliff, his best role yet. I really had fun
What
with this character.
What about Angstrom Levy?
Ooh. No, I'll just stick with this one. Alrighty.
We will
Okay.
be doing an Invincible episode eventually.
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 I better catch up, honestly. Okay, so now we're
True.
going to be moving on to Best Actress. For Best Actress, we have Annette Bening, Lily Gladstone, Sandra Hüller, Carey Mulligan, and Emma Stone. Oh, and I'm sorry, I made a mistake on this one. I forgot for which film. Crap. Okay. Okay, personally, I would pick Emma Stone for Poor Things cuz honestly, like who was the actress who like pushed her limits despite like having already like an Academy Award at this point. But I would also be glad if, no pun intended, if Lily Gladstone won the award for Killers of the Flower Moon. She was the beating heart of that movie, like without a doubt. So I would be fine if either one of Lily Gladstone or Emma Stone would win for Best Actress. Sandra Hüller, great in Anatomy of a Fall. She deserved the nomination. Carey Mulligan, honestly, she carried the whole movie. I guess that makes her earn that nomination as well. I haven't seen Naiad, so I don't have anything to say for that. So, thoughts, opinions on who should
My
win Best
favorite,
Actress?
and my prediction is Lily Gladstone. Like if Oppenheimer wins any award, I think it should be for her because she was incredible, and yeah, she is the beating heart of that movie, and
Mm,
I think she deserves it 100%. It's who I want to win, and it's my favorite. I would be happy with Emma Stone. I would be happy with Emma Stone. She was fantastic, but she had her year with La La Land. I think this is Lily
mm.
Gladstone's year. In terms of the other ones, haven't seen Naiad. I literally saw Anatomy of a Fall earlier today, and Sandra Hüller was really good in it.
Mhm.
Caroline Mulligan was in Maestro. Uh,
She
maybe
was
I
in
just have a
Maestro. She was in
vendetta
Maestro.
against the movie. She was good. But
She carried the entire
uh,
movie.
yeah, she was one of the best things about it. But no, it's Lily Gladstone. I will say,
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
I kind of wish Greta Lee was nominated for Past Lives.
True. If
Yeah,
I
I
would
agree.
if I would remove one Annette Bening, I'd remove her and replace it with Greta Lee.
Yeah.
Easily. What were you saying,
Um,
Emil?
I would yeah, I would probably also say Emma Stone. Like she really, really wants that Oscar, and I think she deserves it. I think she really deserves it. She acted her ass off in this movie, and I think it's just such a layered performance. She goes from, being the mind of a baby in the body of an adult woman, to like, you see her grow up in the movie, like just in the way her behavior is, and you just don't even think about it. It just
Mm,
kind of like happens. She just kind of like slips into it. She just slips into like, and it makes sense. It never takes you out of the experience. That just takes such a deep understanding of this character, and like a deep love for the story and a deep commitment to making this film the best it can be. And I think she deserves all her flowers. That being said, I do think it'd be awesome if Lily Gladstone wins. I know she was incredible in the movie, and also I just saw that picture of her in high school, with the most likely to win an Oscar. And I just really, really hope that if I hope that that picture comes true. So I wouldn't be upset with either.
okay. All right, so we're gonna be moving on to Best Actor. For Best Actor, we have Bradley Cooper for Maestro, Coleman Domingo for Rustin, Paul Giamatti for The Holdovers, Cillian Murphy for Oppenheimer, and Jeffrey Wright for American Fiction. Um, Honestly, easy Cillian Murphy for Oppenheimer. But if there was no Oppenheimer, easily Paul Giamatti, The Holdovers.
Sweepovers.
Yeah, sleepovers.
Yeah. Sorry, Bradley Cooper. It's not your year. I'm sorry. Sorry, Maestro Cooper. So, any opinions for Best Actor?
I will say he's not my pick for either to win or my favorite. I do think Jeffrey Wright was really good in American Fiction. Like
True.
he's such a good actor that like some movies it takes me a while to get into it. Like I started watching American Fiction and all I had to hear was his voice. I'm like, okay, I'm in. He's so good. But yeah, it's Cillian Murphy and Oppenheimer. And if Paul Giamatti
Mm.
somehow sneaks it out, then I'll be like, that should have been Cillian's. But I am so happy for Paul Giamatti because, I mean, for me, it's either the Sweepenheimer agenda or the Sweepovers agenda. And you know, as long as one of my agendas is fulfilled, I am happy.
Yeah, retweet. I can't really add anything to that. Yeah, my thoughts exactly.
All right. So, are we gonna be moving on to?
Best director. Castleman, take it away.
All right. Okay, so best director we have Justine Triet, Anatomy of a Fall, Martin Scorsese, Killers of the Flower Moon, Christopher Nolan, Oppenheimer, Yorgos Lanthimos, Poor Things, Jonathan Glazer, The Year of Interest. I've now seen every movie. I've just now today I was able to finally finish watching all 5 of these. I think every single one of these people deserves to be here. They all did so good with every single such a diverse range of topics and tones and styles. No, none of these people deserve to be replaced with Barbie. I'm sorry, Greta Gerwig, I love you, but these are all fantastic directors. Okay, so I loved Justin Triet did such a good job with Anatomy of a Fall. Jonathan Glazer horrified me with The Zone of Interest. Marty, of course, Scorsese is Martin Scorsese, and he delivered a late-age masterpiece with Killers of the Flower Moon. Like, that can't be ignored. Yorgos Lanthimos was one of the most weird, sweeping experiences in a theater in the last year. But this is Christopher Nolan's year. I will be baffled if he doesn't win.
Yeah.
This is the year of Nolan. This, as much as I love The Holdovers, is not nominated. And it is Chris Nolan's year. It is time to recognize how much of an amazing director he's been. Not just for Oppenheimer, but for Interstellar, Inception, The Prestige, all the way back to Memento, and even his Dark Knight trilogy. He is one of the best directors working. And I'm not just saying that in like a film boy way. He's just so great. And I think Oppenheimer, if this isn't his year, I don't know what would be.
Yeah, I think this is Nolan's year. And I will say the only other before I get on the Oppenheimer, I get started on Oppenheimer. I will say this is my favorite award of the night. I watch Best Director award acceptance speeches a lot. I want to win one. I want to win one of these one day. I'm putting that out in the world right now.
Hell yeah.
I want one. And
I mean, who doesn't?
so I'm very very excited to watch this. But I think Oppenheimer's got it easy. I think just in terms of directing, Oppenheimer feels like the kind of pinnacle of Christopher Nolan's style and all the things he's tried over the years. And I think I've heard the complaints that a lot of the Christopher Nolan movies prior to this feel like a little bit like kind of soulless and a little bit less cold, like a little bit cold, and like it's sometimes a little bit dry in terms of style. But this is a movie that is like overflowing in that. I would heavily disagree with those claims, by the way. These are just things that I've seen people say. But this is a movie overflowing with style and with such a unique vision, and I think it's Nolan does such a great job of putting you in the head of Oppenheimer. And this is not something that I really felt in his films before, where I feel like I'm really completely immersed in the mind of this character, and I think the emotions are very much heightened when he does that, and it's just truly like a film experience unlike any before. I think I always think about how people say Nolan said that he created a horror movie, and it's just like I don't know. I'd really struggle to find the words to describe how much I love Oppenheimer, and how much this movie is just deserving of all the awards it's nominated for, pretty much. But I think really that all comes down to Christopher Nolan, and I think he more than Best Picture. I think he deserves Best Director. Um, and in terms of Yorgos, that's a movie that no one else could have made, truly. And I say that about every film. Like, if two directors are handed the same script, they won't make it the same way. But I feel like Yorgos is a filmmaker that he wouldn't let anyone else have this script. No one else could write this script. No one else could make this movie. He has such a specific tone and voice, and he wants to tell people about this world and show the life of Bella Baxter in a way that really just is so profound and kind of a spiritual journey and experience. And there are cops outside, sorry, New York. Um, but yeah, so if Oppenheimer wasn't here, I'd give it to Yorgos. But I'm gonna give it to I have to give it to Oppenheimer.
Okay. So for me, for best director, like all of you all, Christopher Nolan should be getting this one. Christopher, if you're listening to this, Tenet, it's not 3 stars, it's 4 stars now. The perfect vibe. I love it. Bought the 4K. 4K is amazing. Um, if I were to add another best director, that got snubbed, Celine Song for Past Lives actually. Like
Agreed.
he's way more deserving. Like I loved her
Yeah.
direction for Past Lives. Like it's so simplistic, but it packed such an emotional punch. So yeah, for the one that got snubbed, Celine Song should have been nominated. But yes, it's Christopher Nolan's time. He loves time. This is his time, baby. So Christopher, I
Yeah.
love you. Oppenheimer sweep, Tenet sweep, please.
All right.
All right. Well, that leaves us at our last nomination, Best Picture. So we're going to be doing this one a little bit differently. We're going to be going through a top 10 list. So we'll be starting at number 10 from our least favorite of the Best Picture nominees, and then each go list them and then go all the way to number one, which is our favorite. I've only seen five, so I only ranked five. So I'll jump in at five, but you guys can get started whenever you're ready.
All right.
Okay.
So I have my number 10 is Barbie. I like it. I don't hate me. I think it's a very well made, solid movie. It just happens to be at the bottom of my list. And there is a petty reason. I have it at the bottom of my list. It's just because the why weren't Margot Robbie and Greta Gerwig nominated discourse kind of soured me on it a little bit because all those amazing actresses and directors. What? Yeah, it's a good movie. Don't but it also made $1.4 billion. Let's not go insane.
Yeah.
Okay, my number 10 is actually Maestro. So, Maestro was, yes, 10 minutes in this movie, I already smelled the Oscar bait. Um, Carey Mulligan was the one who was carrying most of this movie. Had they chosen a lesser actress, I don't think this movie would have been even like a good fun. I wouldn't say even fun, like an enthralling watch for me. The ending kind of rubbed me off the wrong way. So it was kind of like Bradley Cooper kind of giving me the finger. So I was like, no, man, I'm sorry. And honestly, like the reason why this is like my least favorite of the Best Picture nominees is because this movie feels like he made this movie for Oscar, like the Oscar people, like the ones who are like deciding like who wins. It doesn't feel like it's for the movie going audience. That's the reason why I don't love it as much as like I don't know some of those Maestro fans out there. That's why it's the very bottom of my list. So
I agree with
that's
everything you said because Maestro is my number 9. Uh, I low key I think it's a worse movie than Barbie. Again, I only have Barbie at the bottom for very very petty reasons, and I admit it. So you can be mad at me, and I will be like, yeah, you're right. But yeah, Maestro's that's Oscar bait. I'm sorry, Bradley Cooper. Starborn was good. Try again next time. Uh, yeah, and maybe be less pandery next time. You know, I know
yeah.
you really want it, but you don't want it that badly. You know, I will always say, if you need an award to tell you if you made a good movie or not, you probably didn't make a very good movie.
Mm.
Yeah.
So my number 9 is actually Barbie. Um, honestly, Barbie. The reason why it's also like in like the lowest like ranking is because I think Barbie was only great the first time around. Like that, I've never gone back and rewatched Barbie.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like the more I thought about Barbie, the more it feels like don't get me wrong, like it's written by Greta Gerwig, Noah Baumbach, like really talented writers, but it kind of just caters more to the manufactured like writing on women empowerment. I mean, I'm not a female, so, but the feeling that I get from it just feels mass produced. Like I even have friends who are women who even thought of that way. And we'll get to one film that's like it's a better Barbie movie compared to this one, and it's not even a Barbie movie.
For for
So
what it's
I
worth, for what it's worth, man, I mean, if I may give a point on Barbie, um, it's like feminism 101. You know, like it takes these ideas that are very important and have a place and should be discussed, and puts them and makes it in a way that's digestible for any audience to consume and feel sort of empathy for. And honestly, I really do feel like that's worth something, that has a place. And I think that things like that should be spread more in media that are as widespread as Barbie. This was the biggest movie last year, and I'm glad that it was, because I think it's the sort of film that makes people feel more okay to be themselves, and I think that that is something that is should not be discounted. And being I don't know. I think that it has its place. That also, we'll talk about later with in reference to the other film. But I think that, yeah, a film like this should exist,
I
and I'm
agree.
glad that it does.
I agree. I
But if
just
we're just talking about filmmaking, I agree. I don't. I think that it belongs here, but I do think that it's worth saying.
I I don't know. I think maybe because it's Greta Gerwig, I expected more from this movie.
yeah,
I expected more than the feminism 101 whatever,
Lady
because
Bird, Little Women, what
yeah,
happened?
this is her worst movie, and it's not a bad movie, but it is her worst,
Yeah.
and in my opinion, and I just feel that, like, I mean, also other things, even though it's feminism 101, I feel like there's certain thematic elements of this movie that feel kind of messy. Like, what are the
Mm.
kins supposed to represent? Are they supposed to represent like an alternate reality where men are not in power, or are they supposed to be a take on toxic masculinity? The movie doesn't quite decide and tries to make them both, and I think that's one of the reasons it kind of falls flat for me. Um, I, you know, again, I'm not a woman. I'm not supposed to be an expert on feminist theory. I'm just saying my mind, and maybe I expected more, and maybe that's on me. It's a fun movie, but that's because. But the thing is, me expecting it more is another reason why I'm not about to say it deserves all the Oscars, because it also, again, it made 1.4 billion dollars.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
if we're judging it purely on filmmaking quality, I agree. It does feel like there are a lot of elements that are messy. Um, but I do feel like, just in terms of impact, I think it does deserve at least some of the nominations that it got.
I mean, yeah.
Um,
There is
so
like
anyways,
5 minutes of this movie that's just a car commercial and looks like one too.
I mean, to be fair, Barbie did help Oppenheimer, so like it did
You know
help
what?
with the
Kudos on
exposure.
it for that. All
Yeah,
right. So my number 8 is American Fiction.
same here.
Oh
We have it at number
wow,
8.
we would be entirely synced up if it wasn't for my pettiness on Barbie. Uh, and I thought this was a fun movie. I vibed with a lot of the characters,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought the satire was hilarious. Like I thought this might be the funny. It might be my funniest of the nominations because I laughed out loud several times. There's
Right?
so many funny things. Like I think the funniest bit, slight spoiler, is like I think it's like when it's like the judging committee and like it's like the 3 white judges and the 2 black ones and like one of the white judges picks the certain book. It's like I think it's really important that we hear out these diverse voices and the 3 of them all vote against the 2 black people.
Yeah, God.
I was that
Oh,
was very funny.
oh God. I mean, I agree with what you said about American Fiction. Honestly, out of all the Best Picture nominations, the biggest surprise was this movie. Like legit, I was going in watching American Fiction. Oh, might as well finish all the Best Picture nominees because I've seen like 8 of them. I have 2 left. So I walked in American Fiction just expecting like okay, it's something that's nominated. Walked out of the theater being like, that was a good movie. Love this movie. We will get into like the problem. I do think we have the same problems with this movie, but
Is it
overall,
the
this
is it the
this
ending?
was it was the ending. It was
It's
the ending.
the ending was funny, but it also tries a little too hard to be clever because
Yeah.
it kind of shot itself in the foot because it's a funny, subversive, clever ending, but I was too invested in the actual sincere parts of the film,
Mhm.
and maybe that's my fault. But I was like really caring about this guy's family and life,
Yeah.
and the fact we didn't get a resolution to that was pretty disappointing to me because it was more the ending more focused on the satire, and I think most people preferred the satire, so I'm sure a lot of people preferred the ending, but for
Hmm.
me, I kind of wish both sides of this movie because it was a tonal balancing act. I wish both sides of this movie was satisfying, but in the end,
But yeah, in the end, good movie.
good movie.
Deserved the nomination, in my opinion.
Yeah. My number 7 is The Zone of Interest.
Ooh.
Uh,
Oof, oof,
so
oof.
this maybe I don't know. You can say this is lower or higher or whatever. I think this is a fantastic, stunning, horrifying movie. I mean, but I rank things based on more certain things that are more personal to me. This isn't an objective list. This is my list, and
Mhm.
I'm not going to rewatch this either anytime soon or ever again. Because it's pretty mind numbing, and it's supposed to
Yeah.
be. It's very much supposed to be. You're like it made me feel like I was like going insane from the mundanity of the horror of it all.
Hmm.
And it's super effective, and I'm not denying how important and effective this film is. But I've said effective twice. Anyway, it's effective. Very effective movie.
All right. Speaking of another horrifying film, Killers of the Flower Moon is actually my number 7.
Mm.
Great movie, deserves the nomination as usual. But the thing about it is, I think the reason why it's in number 7. I mean, I gave this for 5 stars. The rest, like, I think ranks number 1 to 7 are all five bangers for me. But I don't know, like the other films on this list are like, you know what? Marty has had the spotlight for so many years. I do think like these filmmakers deserve the spotlight now. So I do think Killers of the Flower Moon number 7. And plus, I did say earlier I do prefer the book than the movie, so I think 7's a good spot for Killers of the Flower Moon. Oh yeah, we can move on to number 6.
My number
Uh,
6 is Anatomy of a Fall.
hmm. Okay.
I'll be honest, I saw this movie today because I was doing my last minute couple catch ups. Very, very good movie. I will say the first, like, I wasn't really into it, like, the first 40 minutes. I think it may be just my thing. You know, I'm a big court case procedural kind of guy. Like,
Mhm.
as soon as we actually get into the court case stuff, I'm like hooked. But like, I will say the first like 40 minutes, uh, like, it didn't. I wasn't like, yeah, okay, he died. All right, okay. It didn't. I feel like this movie could have been tighter, like just a little
Mm.
bit tighter. Like, it's a 2.5 hours movie. A movie. I feel like it could have been like 2 hours 15 or 2 hours 10. I'm not a runtime stickler. I like long movies, but I am a pacing stickler, and I feel like this movie could. Yeah, and I loved a huge chunk of the middle of this, but the bit of the beginning and a bit of the end, it didn't quite stick all the way. But a great movie either way.
Mm. Okay, so my number six might be heartbreaking. The Holdovers is at number six.
Wow.
I know,
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
Hmm.
It's a great movie. It's a great movie. But the
Good
other
year for
five
film. Good
films.
for film. For film. Good year.
But you know what? It's on number six.
I'm
One of
upset,
the biggest.
Kafka.
You want to cut the stream? You want to cut the cut the stream?
Might have to go to Canada to tussle you, Kafka, right now.
No, Holdovers is great. I love the Holdovers. Like I said, I
This was
want
a good year for movies. Like,
yes,
honestly, I will
yes,
say I have my top five are all 5 out of 5s, and my bottom five are all really good movies. Like, the lowest
yeah.
any of these go is like a 3 out of 5 to a 7, a 3.5. But yeah, no, great stuff.
But yeah, Holdovers. I want some tomato soup and some grilled cheese sandwich while I'm watching this. That's what I need. That's
Yeah,
the combination. So
Oh yeah.
that's number six.
my number
Um.
5 is Killers of the Flower Moon.
Okay.
Which, I
Okay.
mean, you could it's like I feel like I could be higher with this actually, but
Really.
my top four are like so personal, then they hit me in a very specific point. Well, this one, here's the thing. You said Marty's had his time in the spotlight.
Yeah.
I agree with that, but the other thing is, this is one of his best movies. Like, and I agree with the whole spotlight, but this is just it's his late age masterpiece. This was a year of late age masterpieces.
I mean, Irishman
And
was a late age masterpiece as well.
I think I prefer Killers of the Flower Moon.
Mmm.
I love Killers of the
Really?
Flower Moon. I love The Irishman, but I love Killers of the Flower Moon. And I will say I haven't rewatched either of them since the first time I watched it. Like, I think Patrick Ray Williams made a video recently, and he said it best. The worst thing about the length is that it's hard to find time to watch it again. Uh, and
That's
it's
actually good.
but it's such a good movie. I loved it. And it, like, the final scene, when you see it, that is one of the most emotionally impactful final scenes of the year. Holy crap.
Okay, Emil, do you want to give your number five first before I say
Oh
mine?
yeah,
Still time.
I
It's
can
time.
I can join in now. And guess what? It's Barbie.
Oh boy.
How dare you have
um,
it in your top 5?
it's in my top 5 out of 5.
Mm, bottom tiers. So let's go.
Yeah.
How
It's
dare you
really
have
funny because
Barbie in your bottom place?
I like Barbie. It wasn't terrible. It was a good movie. I enjoyed it. I actually watched it twice. I did watch Barbie
Hmm.
twice.
You know
All
what,
right.
Emil? You're enough. You are enough. Sorry
I'm
about that.
Knuff. And then I was
You
shitting on
are
people for
enough.
having the Ken hoodies earlier in this episode. I will say I never thought about buying one.
Same.
Not
Never
once.
thought about buying one as well.
I passed by one in the store earlier today.
How much were the how much were the hoodies? Did you
I don't
check?
know. They're like $30. I had no intention of buying one. I promise.
Yeah. So we're
Would
we're we're
imagine.
making beef with hair and makeup artists today, and I'm Knuff hoodie wearers.
Okay. So yeah, my number five is Anatomy of a Fall. Um.
Hmm.
really one of the festival highlights that I've last year I went to the film festival here in Vancouver, and this was one of the special presentations. I met new friends because of this movie. Um, the discussion right after the movie was also great because it. This is what I love about going about movies. Sometimes you watch like a court drama, and the discussion afterwards, like, sure, there is the did she do it or did she not, but like just talking about it, like the whole. So, what do you think really is the fall? And I mean, ever since, like, I asked people on like what do they think about it. Some would say that either she did it or she didn't. But the most interesting aspect that I've um, heard about some of the people that I talked with this movie was basically like, in another sense, they're basically looking at the fall of this marriage, which is like something that I didn't think about the first time I saw it. I was mostly just thinking about like, yeah, did she kill her husband or did she not? But in essence, you kind of see it more as like the fall of their marriage because you can clearly see that they loved each other in the beginning, but it just like fell apart. So that's the reason why I have it at number 5. And I've
Yeah.
said on Anatomy of a Fall.
I mean, I
Cool.
agree with you. Here's the thing. I started watching it and like in those first 4 minutes I was like, it would be so funny if my letterbox review was just I think she did it, guys, and that was it. Um but the court case proceduring was so investing that I gave up on my joke review. How about that? I said this in the review, but yeah, you
Wow.
know. Yeah. Um my number if we're moving on, my number 4 is Past Lives.
Ooh.
My
I
number 4 is also Past Lives, actually. Wow.
Hey, another sync up. How about that? I loved
Yeah.
Past Lives. Past Lives was I do want to see it again. I saw it.
Mhm.
I think I actually saw it the same day I saw Mission Impossible Fallout. Like I was driving to like this
You
theater
mean
in
Dead Reckoning?
Dead Reckoning. That's right. I was driving to this theater in Atlanta to see it, and I just happened to leave early, so I stopped by a theater that was on my way. So I stopped by a theater that was playing Past Lives on my way there, and
Mm.
so I had like a double feature that was interrupted by a 30-minute drive. Um, and you know, very good movie. Though I will say, little anecdote about Mission Impossible was that I found out the day after I went to go see Mission Impossible that Tom Cruise showed up at that theater. Anyway, uh,
Wow.
Past Lives, great movie. Uh, very like the ways that goes through the phases in these characters' lives and the way that you feel invested in these things. And I just want to shout out the white husband character who I feel like in most movies would be like this the generic asshole, but like he was one of the more nuanced and interesting parts of the movie.
Oh man, that's funny. Yeah, I Past Lives, all I'm gonna say on it, hit me at the right time. I felt a lot of things after watching this movie. Related a little too hard. Good movie.
So my number 4 is The Zone of Interest.
Mm.
Oh, were you
What a
interested?
movie. Um Definitely. This movie left me speechless. Uh Definitely harrowing. A harrowing experience indeed. But in some ways, like whenever like I think about The Zone of Interest, like Jonathan Glazer made this very it feels very Kubrick in some ways. I know Kubrick is way different from Jonathan Glazer, but the way how he filmed this film, like he filmed it, like literally they weren't on set. Like they just set up the cameras and then they went into like outside. They had like a room or something, and then they were just like directing them, like just go, like go. I don't just like they're really going for that mundane aspect of it all. The research that they went through with this movie, like it took him 10 years to like make this movie. His last movie was like 2013. So it just shows like how much research and how much he thought about this movie. I mean, it's a technical achievement, honestly. So I do think like that's the reason why it's in top 4. It's one of the most important films that I've seen from last year, and it highly deserves it. So that's number 4. the zone of interest.
Great.
Mhm.
My number 3 is Poor Things.
I have Poor
Um,
Things at number 3.
ooh, okay.
Fuck, I have it at 3 as well.
Poor Things
Wow.
2?
It's true what they say about the sync up. Um, yeah, no, I dude, I mean, I think so Emil, we went my first night when I went to see Emil in New York. We went to go see this movie. And I and after the movie ended, like as the credits rolled, I just sat in silence for like 5 minutes. And I think Emil was asking me questions,
Dude,
and
I thought something was wrong with him. I thought he was like not okay.
I was just processing it, man. What a movie! Like, I mean, I know I wax poetic about the production design, but there's so many other things I could wax poetic about. It's just it's an astounding movie. It is the sort of movie where you watch and then you just sit in silence for 5 minutes because I was like processing so many things through my friggin' brain. Yeah, what a movie.
What a movie indeed. I mean, Poor Things. Shout out to Gabe for all the Poor Things sweep, Poor Things hype. Honestly, the hype was worth it. Um, I mean, I've enjoyed what Yorgos Lanthimos has done for the past couple of years, like Killing of a Sacred Deer, The Favorite, um, The Lobster. But I do think this is his best film, and it's honestly the film that I would rewatch the most because I don't think a lot of Yorgos Lanthimos films are rewatchable. But this is the one where it's like, okay, I can rewatch this movie if I want to. So
I've
yeah,
definitely had to hear his.
it's quirky, it's funny. So Emma Stone at the top of her game, her best role, honestly. So yeah, Poor
Yeah.
Things.
I'm pretty sure our next 2 slots are like the exact same.
Not me.
Really?
No.
Oh, okay.
Well, are you want to move on to our number 2?
Okay,
I'm
I'll
ready.
say it now. My number 2 is Past Lives. Boom.
Okay.
Mm,
Why is it number 2? Very personal movie for me. Reminds me a lot of my past life, but it's just also
wow.
that
Hey.
you often think about the things that get emotional. I don't know. You often think about the what ifs in your life. It makes you reflect. Like, would I have been a different person? Do you think that my life would have been even better if I just didn't push through on those decisions that were faced at me? Which is very human. It connected me in a lot of ways. Like I remember, like last July of last year, I was like, oh, easy. You know what? Easy. Like I mean, June. Sorry about that. June is like, oh yeah, Across the Spider Verse, best movie of the year. This movie comes out. I was like, damn. I'm sorry, Spider Man. I love you, Spider Man, but this movie just touched me on another level of emotional damage, but emotional healing at the same time. This was therapy for me. So that's the reason why Past Lives is my number 2.
I think all of us on this podcast are just hurt. That's
Sure.
why we all rated Past Lives high.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Let's change this to the Hurt podcast, and Johnny Cash does our theme music. Um,
Oh my
We'd
god.
have to pay the we've had to pay the cash estate for that.
should we do the Nine Inch Nails version instead? Is that more our vibe? I think that's more my vibe, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Well,
My
maybe I
Chemical
don't know.
Romance. My
I don't
Chemical
know.
Romance. Like,
Nah. Well,
Mm, I
I
do love
compared to you two, I'm the more of a country boy, so maybe I am the Cash version. Um, my
the
number
white
2 is the
representation on the
Holdovers.
podcast.
number 2. I'm sorry.
My number 2 is the Holdovers.
Mm-mm.
Me too.
I mean, I feel like this is the second most talked about a movie so far. So we've said a lot. I waxed
Mhm.
poetic about the way it looks, the cinematography, the editing, the ting. It's Dominic Sessa, one of the best standout performances ever. Maybe Paul
Mhm.
Giamatti, Divine Joy Randolph, like It's I don't know. It's just a special movie to me. I will be this is probably the best Winter Break movie of all time.
Is it out on Blu-ray already?
I don't know. I'll be buying it though.
Mm.
It's on Peacock though.
Oh
But
boy.
come on, you know.
Oh, it is on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Oh okay.
Yeah. I don't really feel like I have much more to say on this movie. Holdovers number 2 as well.
I mean, get it
All
on
right.
Blu-ray as you can. You know.
Yep. Holdovers, great movie. So for our number one, should we just say it at the same time?
Renzo,
What?
did you also have holdovers at number 2?
No, he
No, I
had
had
Past
it in
Lives.
number 6.
No, he was just talking about Past Lives as his number 2.
Oh, sorry, Past Lives number 2. Yeah. Well,
Sorry.
Yeah.
Never mind.
So for our number one, should we just say it in 3? Because I
Yeah.
think we all know what it is.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
Sweepenheimer.
Yeah, I mean, the countdown. This is basically an atomic bomb that we're dropping. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll probably do a post Oscars podcast. Hopefully, a shorter episode than this, because this
Yeah.
episode ran pretty long, and the AD
did.
in me has been a little dying inside. But I never. It's not my job to keep us on time. So but hey, I think you guys have been saying some insightful stuff, and I don't want to interrupt that and say, yeah, we're running out of time. Not my job here. My job here is to talk about how much I love cinema, and few movies last year reminded me how much I love cinema as much as Oppenheimer.
Yeah. Yeah, Nolan deserves all his flowers. Honestly, I think every good thing that everyone said about it is not enough to describe the magnitude and the importance and the quality of this film. Really, unlike anything else. That being said, just to make this a little more interesting, I'm gonna say a big claim. If Dune Part 2 had come out last year, I think Dune Part 2 would be in this spot.
Oh God.
I mean, well,
You know,
Which-
that was a teaser for our next episode 3. Our next review will be of a certain movie that came out recently that was supposed to come out last year, but because the bullshit idiotic studios in charge decided they didn't like paying actors for a while. So actors went on strike and that movie was delayed. But next episode,
pay the actors and writers.
Pay your actors
Yeah.
and your writers and your craftsmen in the IATSE. Shout out to those guys too. And DGA, I'm ashamed of you. You should have gone on strike too, but whatever. We will. Not to say too much on that. Yeah. I think Oppenheimer. Do we have anything more to say about that movie? Because we talked a lot about it again.
Yeah, we did.
I mean, buy it on physical. Just saying, like, buy the best movie of the buy the best movie of the year on 4K. The 4K is astounding.
And see it on the biggest screen you can, if you have access to it.
Is it still playing? I think it is.
They're bringing it back to theaters like all the time.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Well, anyway,
I'm actually seeing it again next week. So yeah.
Well, there we go. I've only seen it twice. I wish I could have seen it more. I sadly never got to see it in IMAX. A big regret there, but
hey, same here, man. I've never seen it in IMAX last year.
Well, there we go.
It's pretty great. Pretty great.
So we will all see how we're feeling about the Oscars when we next talk about it in maybe a couple episodes. We're recording right now 4 days before the Oscars, and I think the Oscars are a great opportunity to talk about a wide variety of films, but the actual ceremony rarely proves to be a celebration of films themselves. I hate Jimmy Kimmel. He is a terrible host, and I just saw I was scrolling through. So I was like, oh yeah, I'm excited to host this year because movies that people have actually seen are nominated. And I was like, fuck you, you dumb Jimmy ass motherfucker.
You dumb Jimmy ass motherfucker.
And so I don't know. I lucky hate that guy. Hopefully that won't bite me back in the ass, but I don't know. I think if you're nominating the Oscars, you should celebrate movies. And you should love all these movies that are nominated regardless of how well known they are.
Mm.
And yeah, so we'll see. Personally, I hope another celebrity gets slapped this year.
Who do you think it's gonna be? Place your bets.
Ooh, okay. I hope it's Jimmy
Ooh.
Kimmel.
Hope it's Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah. Personally, if they're worried about Oscar ratings, I think I think a celebrity should get slapped every year. And and that'll boost the ratings because they'll be wondering who it is.
Yeah, I think that'd be a fun. It'll add a random element. It'll be like a game.
Yeah. I mean, if they're not
Um,
gonna actually celebrate movies like they're supposed to, then might as well turn it into a circus that they're treating it like.
Unless we get a holdover sweep, then never mind.
Okay,
No
never
one
mind
gets
if there's a
slapped.
holdover sweep, or most importantly, a sweepenheimer.
Or
I
a
think that's
Sweepenheimer.
about it. Shall we wrap this
Yeah,
up?
let's wrap this up. Renzo, anything else to say on any of the movies?
I'm all good.
Any
I love
message?
cinema.
I think you might have one last. I think you might have one last thing to say for us before we end this.
Yeah.
Oh, hope you guys enjoy, and there it is.